Well, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. This is Dr. of Ghetto speaking, talking with Doc again, regarding about the Black Lives Matter movement, as well as the black struggle in general. So, Doc, as we're playing along with our discussion for today, can you explain first, before we start with Black Lives Matter of today's times, how about we start with the black struggle? What is the black struggle?
The Black Lives Matter thing is you're talking about. The Black Lives Matter. The
Well,
Black Lives Matter. Go ahead. Excuse me. Clarify.
Well, I was just thinking of let's start from scratch or from the beginning of times with when you were my age, when you were when you're in your 20s and you heard about the black struggle and the black power movement stuff like that. Is it similar to like that the Black Lives Matter, or you say it's something that's very different from it?
Well, I'm saying something different pertaining to Black Lives Matter to who? Because we're looked at as still as subhuman. That's established by the founding fathers or founding fathers of the United States. We're considered subhuman. And on one end, another end, we were considered a goyim, which is a Yiddish word, which means in the dictionary it says anybody who's a non-Jew is a goyim, or when the Jews say amongst themselves, is anybody from a worm to a nigger. So on one hand, you got people who feel that, or European people who feel that we're subhuman. So if we're subhuman, then why should our lives matter to them and matters to us, people of color? But you people who run this whole physical reality really don't matter. And the only reason that they keep us in existence because they need us. Since they need us, what they'll do, they'll make life a living hell for us since they can't just, straight out get rid of us.
And who
Clean
is
us.
and who is this they people? The establishment, you're saying?
I'm talking about the European power structure.
Europe, like that, Spain and Portugal and
Really?
like countries like Spain and Portugal and the Vatican City and stuff like that, right? And also Vatican City is its own city.
The European, yeah, the whole thing. They need us to keep to keep their material world in existence. Without us, their material world will not exist. So they need people of color to continue to exist on the planet for the planet itself to continue to exist.
Hmm.
Does it make sense to you?
Yeah, and hopefully the audience, whoever's listening, and will understand that too after a while of, within this conversation as we're speaking right now. Now, in regards to the Vatican City, not Vatican City, but this European power structure, you think it's created by the that they created the Black Lives Matter movement?
Well, I'm saying they, if they consider us subhuman, back when the founding fathers, got it together here in North America, it didn't change since then. The founding fathers considered us subhuman. They have it in their documentations that they consider black people more animal than human beings.
Okay.
So I mean, it's really the European power structure, the so-called elite. That's why it's really nothing to them to really for them to kill young black males in the streets the way they were doing, the way they do.
Hmm.
You know what I'm saying? It's nothing to them to do that because it's an animal or something that's less than human.
I see. They're like savages, but you're saying that the European power structure are like savages, basically.
The establishment, you got the people who run this whole thing. Those are the people who make the laws, okay? And the people that make the laws, they create conditions for people that's less fortunate to have to break those laws
Right.
Does it make sense to you?
I think as one example, the Russian American Rule of Law Consortium, they more like bend the laws and break the laws. So even though it's in Russia, whatever, I heard that Russia is part of the European power structure as well. So the apple does not fall far from the tree.
Well, I'm going to look at like the British, the British Parliament and the United States government and all its allies.
Hmm.
Okay, I'm not. I mean, that's what I'm going to focus on. What they call the so-called Illuminati, which is really actually the billionaires club. The people who have billions of dollars. Those are the ones who, like pull the strings and call the shots. The ones that have, that kind of money.
Okay, so basically, you're saying that there's these group of people in this echelon of the Illuminati's power structure that controls most of the wealth, if not all the wealth.
Yeah, well, wherever there's any natural resources on the planet, it's going to be controlled by the Europeans. You can have people. You can even have natural resources in Africa, where Africa is a continent full of melanated people, but they have no real control over their resources.
I see, because speaking of Africa, yeah, it's very heavily soiled with lots of diamonds and gold and silver, if I recall correctly from my research in the past. It was still valid in today's world, that is. Yeah, go ahead.
So what they can do? So what they do is, like I said, you have too many people so eager to please the enemy, and not even realizing that is your enemy. You get what I'm saying? They're so eager to please them and want to, work with the enemy. You don't even realize that person is not even looking out for your best interests.
I see. Hmm. Okay then. Now, in regards to this European power structure, and the Black Lives Matter that you mentioned to me over the last few minutes in our previous conversation from earlier this week, how is it tied in? This European power structure ties in with the Black Lives Matter, and why do you think so, or what is the actual fact?
The Black Lives Matter thing, came about as a direct result of how brothers were being treated by the police officers. So they came up with this political movement, this slogan, saying Black Lives Matter, but it's only to the people who are affected by what the police are doing. But it doesn't matter to the people who's committing who's doing the violating. It doesn't really matter to them, because a police officer never going to go to jail or to prison for killing a young black male. It's not going to happen. And unless young people have the courage to organize and make the system give them the respect. Elijah Muhammad said that if 10 million brothers, young black males, were willing to lay their life down on the line for their babies born and yet to be born, the powers that be would sit down and try to come to an agreement on how to make things a little easy. But since you have brothers, young black males that don't have that type of courage, the situation with the officers is going to continue to go on.
Yeah, I heard that Milwaukee.
It takes organization and organization to make the system sit down and see what it is what it is that you want. It takes organization, and people got to be willing to just say, I'm willing to die for what I know is right. I'm willing to give my life. That's a lot of people. 10 million young people.
That's a lot of people right there. Yes,
That's a
especially the
lot of
youth.
people. At one time, within the last 2 months or so, I asked 3 young black males would they join the organization where they would, had to, where they would give their life, like I said, if the next officer or Klansman, white Klans officer shot another brother, would they be willing to just go all the way out and go to war and possibly give their life? Out of 3 brothers that I asked, 2 said no and 1 said yes.
1/3.
So I mean that's not really good.
Yeah.
You got 3 young brothers that was asked that question, and out of 3, only 1 was left standing.
You have to be like you have to raise another generation to actually have willing to have them lay their lives on the line because either they have nothing left to lose, they lose it, or that they lost something valuable or dear to them in states that matter. They want to fight for their country or to fight for themselves or fight for their rights.
Because I don't understand why. Even brothers that were thinking of enlisting in the military should somehow be, offended or feel violated by seeing young brothers dying in the streets, going to war with police officers. But then, if you look at it on an entire, on another level, those brothers that are being victimized, they're not like a kid, a young brother that will be in a college, like a real college, like a Morehouse or Columbia University, or you're not those type of St. John's University here in New York. They're not. Those are college kids. How many young black males who are in college are being victimized by the police officers?
Oh, I don't know. It sounds small.
You know what I'm saying? So I haven't heard stories where young brothers have placed themselves in that position where their lives have been terminated. These victims that I see are people like, although Michael Brown was just he graduated high school, but he was not innocent. He was not Emmett Till. He wasn't Trayvon Martin, and he wasn't Sean Bell.
Yeah, I heard he was going to go to college as well sometime when he was 18, 19 years old before his death.
He was going to college.
He was about to go to college. That's what the news said.
But the community college or real college?
Community college most likely, like a low end college of sorts. That's where most of the people go.
Yeah, but plus that don't happen. Everything is karma. What did he do? What did Michael Brown do to bring himself to that position where his incarnation was terminated? You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
There was something that happened that he did in his life that brought him to the point where he had to face what is known as the occultist called Ma'at. He did something. The same thing could be said for Freddie Gray. Freddie Gray, they said he ran. He was running from the police officers. Why are you running? He if you had something on you that you should not have, then he should have been a man enough to deal with it. Just don't move.
Just freeze it, the cops will say.
And if Freddie Gray had something on him, which was weed or marijuana or weapon or whatever, deal with it. You should not be walking out in public with a weapon on you. If you have weed or if a young person has marijuana on him and the cop stops him and he finds it on him, how much time could this young person do in jail for having a dime bag, as they call it, of weed on him?
I would say none whatsoever.
20 hours worth of weed. How much time could they do in jail, really?
Like not even an hour.
You know what I'm saying? So why was he running? Allegedly, if you go by the story that was told on it through the media, why did he run from the police officers? I'm not, the officers. I'm not saying the officers. I'm not supporting what the officers did, but I'm just saying, just look at it. Why do why you I mean, and then these parents are not raising these kids. Like when I came up, I knew not to mess with the police.
Right.
Don't give them no angle to do nothing foul because they feed off of any resistance. That's part of their training. They're trained to feed off of any form of resistance.
That's what they keep telling us to freeze, or at least put your hands behind your head or something like that.
Excuse me?
It's like the police always say, like, "Oh, put your hands behind your head," or freeze, or anything like that. That's a sign right there that if you move or if you try to fight them physically, it was you resisting arrest.
Okay, so now you're resisting arrest. You're not cooperating with the officer. The officer. This is it's a sad thing to say, but right now this is their world.
I see.
Okay, so if you're not willing to just be damn near, just be suicidal to get what you want out of the system, to get that respect, then have a cold glass of water. I would suggest anybody that's young and black people in particular, American black, whatever, the next young black male that's taken out by the police officers, if you're not willing to move where on a physical level and a large force, like an army, little army,
a gang of sorts.
Just have some cold water. Go to the nearest deli and get yourself some water and drink it. It's a harsh thing to have to deal with. I mean, in the Middle East, these people that are the Palestinians that are, what do you call them? You call them suicide bombers.
Yes, indeed.
And if black people in the United States were into raising children to be like that, suicide bombers, then the powers that be, going back to what I said about 10 million brothers willing to put their life down the line, the powers that be would sit down. If American or black people here in North America say, well, we're willing to die, to give our lives for this cop, this pig is not going to continue to do what he has been doing for so long. They don't. The brothers are not ready to do that. They're not willing to die.
Can't teach an old dog new tricks. That's for certain.
Excuse me?
As the saying goes, you can't teach an old dog new tricks.
Yeah, I mean, somebody said to me one time, I'm an older man, I'm an older G, as they call me, as they call you on the streets, they call you an old G. The old G's don't have to get in the battlefield. It's the old G's that can give advice to the young soldiers.
Yes.
It's the old G's. And that's how because in my generation, when the cops did what they did, like for example, you go back to the Rodney King situation. Yeah, it was on TV, videotape, everything. But the brothers back then, were saying, yeah, at least we got the motherfuckers the cops on television. Now, so the brothers and sisters back at that time, that was a major accomplishment. I had a police officer or a group of police officers beating a black man like they don't even beat an animal the way they was beating Rodney King. Okay, but when that was said and done and they went to trial, what upset the brothers in LA and all over is that the cops were not they got away with it.
I see.
So that caused a major riot in LA. That's when you had the Reginald Jennings, when the brothers in the neighborhood were like anybody that was European that was driving close to wherever there was a ghetto, and black people were around, they were getting snatched out of their car or getting bricks and things thrown at their car. If they can get them out the car, they would beat the shit out of them.
What a coincidence! What a coincidence, Doc. Regarding about the Watts riots, right? You're talking about the Watts riots, right?
No, I'm talking about the Rodney King situation.
Oh, Rodney King. Oh, okay, I'm sorry about that.
Okay, now when Rodney King, the verdict was reached in the Rodney King case. Brothers all over the country didn't like it, and especially in LA, where Rodney King was from. When anybody seen that was white, that was in a car driving close, anywhere with black people around, they were in danger. Reginald Jennings was, they dragged him out of his car. They beat this shit out of him.
Wow.
I said, that was my generation. Those people that did that will be at least 50 years old, 51, 52 years old now.
At the earliest.
Huh?
At the earliest of that age, 51, 52 years old.
51, 52. Now, that's my generation. So, and the shit that's going on now with the police and the young brothers is supposed to spark off the same response. But the young brothers today, they don't have that kind of heart. They've been trained to act violently toward one another and not toward the one that's causing the oppression.
I see.
This is when you get into a mind control. They don't have that type of thing about them where they they're just not gonna go to war. They don't care. They're like, oh well, that's what the mentality is. It's a very selfish type thing.
Yes, it can be selfish at times, but usually, in my perspective, based on Psychology 101, I glanced a little bit of a psychology textbook. It's saying that the reason why people don't want to go to war with the establishment or the elites or whatever is because of the fact that they don't have the resources all together. Then they're not willing to put aside their differences to gather the resources and take down the system, or to reform the system to a point that is beneficial for everyone within the system.
And then if you look at it from a whole other perspective, from a so-called traditional religious perspective, ultimately, for people who are Christians, in the Bible, in the book of Ezekiel, it talks about the stern-faced king who got everything he got on the planet through being wicked. Now, the stern-faced king's organization was so tight that it wouldn't be brought down by human hands. His kingdom is not going to be brought down by human hands. So, what other hands or powers could bring down the stern-faced king? Well, if people of color were to return to their ancestors, you was to return to your ancestors and learn how to communicate with your ancestors or with the ancestors, they would handle it from the other side, because it is said once we pass on from this material realm, we become an ancestor and we operate from that level only from the essence.
I see.
So if people were able to invoke them or call upon them, they would do things. And when you look at it from a higher level of, let me see, I'm trying to gather my words, that's why I'm pausing.
It's okay, take your time.
That is, like I said earlier, what's going on with these young kids is my aunt. She is issuing judgment rulings on an entire generation. So ultimately, all these young brothers that are dying through just by the police, that's my aunt issuing judgment on them. Okay? A lot of young people have no self-love. Because when you love yourself, you respect yourself, and you don't do certain things. Then when you do that, then there's no reason for your enemy to get involved and violate you. Because, like I say to certain people out in public, how can a gangbanger say that he was violated by a police officer when his entire lifestyle is based on violation? It makes no sense.
That's a good point right there.
You get what I'm saying?
Very good point.
So what?
That's a very good point.
It doesn't make any sense. And then most of these people that are being victimized by the police officer, like I said before, they are not productive members of society. You know, I always said, I always said the only black men in prisons are political prisoners. You got Black Panther members that will die in prison. They will never get out of prison. Those are political prisoners. Dr. York is a political prisoner.
Wait, Dr. York that was named after York College?
Excuse me?
I'm sorry, can you elaborate more on Dr. York? I never heard of this guy before.
I said Dr. York. He's in prison. He's a political prisoner.
Okay.
Back in the days, like when I was in my late 30s, mid 30s, his movement was like, gaining some momentum. The new lobbying thing, he was gaining some momentum. A lot of people don't know who Dr. Malachi Z. York is, but in the early days, his movement was gaining some momentum, and then eventually people started going on attacks. And there's many different stories of why Dr. York was placed in prison. They tried to call him a sex offender, true. They just basically they just went after him because his movement was gaining some serious momentum. So
I
they wanted
see.
to shut him down because he had a lot of black people returning to ancient Egypt, the mindset of the ancient Egyptians. A lot of black people returning to that mindset. He was beginning to break the spell of ignorance
Hmm.
that the powers that be, the billionaires club, have been working so hard to achieve. He was starting to break that, starting to ask a large amount of young people at the time to start using reasoning properly. Start using your reason. Start thinking and questioning things. Don't be naive.
Indeed.
So they broke that movement and haven't destroyed that. So, like I said, he's a political prisoner, and then you got Black Panther members who are still in prison, and they will die, or they will all die in prison. So those are political prisoners, and any other brother outside of that, all the rest of those brothers besides those that I just mentioned are niggas, and they're where they belong.
Hmm.
You get what I'm saying? You have political prisoners that are in prison that are black men. Then you have other brothers who look like black men but are actual niggas, and they're where they belong.
I see.
That's a harsh way of looking at it, but it's true because if you let those niggas out, what are they going to do? They're going to do the same shit that got them placed in prison to begin with. But ultimately, who's to blame? The system, because no, like my one of my peers, musicians, said that recently was taken out by the Billionaires Club. Like Prince said, no child is bad from the beginning unless it's in their atmosphere. No child is bad from the beginning.
If you believe in the John Locke principle, it really depends on their environment.
Excuse me?
If you believe in the John Locke principle, then people are changed by their environment, not by when they were born.
Oh, definitely. If you're a person that lives, if you take a bunch of people of color that live in the projects, the born and raised in the projects, then you have some black people that live in a very nice neighborhood. There's a difference in the attitude and the conduct. Because some people that live in Laurelton, people that live in Springfield Gardens and Rosedale, then you go look 40 projects, Red Hook, Brownsville.
Oh yeah, Brownsville.
Yeah, East New York. And then you get black people that live in the Bronx, in the South Bronx. It's a different mentality because the environment plays a role.
I heard those. I heard those spots like Brownsville have been gentrified for the last 25 years.
So then?
I heard that places like Brownville and East New York, they've been gentrifying for the last 25 years. Basically, they're turning mainly white, predominantly white areas.
Well, that's what's happening now in certain areas in Brooklyn. Now they're cleaning those areas up, and you're getting white people living in the neighborhood. So anytime you see a bunch of white people moving into the neighborhoods like that, they're getting rid of all the niggas.
Damn.
They're gonna make the cost of living so high in those neighborhoods that the niggas gotta leave. And the reason the white people moving in those neighborhoods because the transportation to the city is much better than where they came out of.
Right.
So they want to be able to get to Manhattan.
Okay.
So you move them into the neighborhood, where like certain parts of Brooklyn. Like my partner used to live around like Franklin Avenue, where the C train stop. Now there's a lot of white people starting moving that neighborhood. They starting to clean the neighborhood up. They're starting to get Indian restaurants, go up the block around. I mean, with areas that would usually you would hear gunfire every weekend.
Yeah, or cherry bombs.
Yeah, you don't hear that anymore.
Those are the good old days.
So, huh?
Those are the good old days. Those cherry bombs. I hear them every night. I was like, boom, boom.
Yeah, so it's a different type of scenery now. So that's what's going on. They're using they're shaking things around. And I think for the white people, it's a little safer for them to come out and live around a bunch of niggas because white people are killing each other in the suburbs. And the way they're doing it is some crazy shit. With those life insurance policies that they take out on family members and then they cash in on them.
Damn.
They're starting to realize it's safer living around a bunch of niggas. Because they know. I mean, a white person can walk through a whole black neighborhood, and he ain't gotta worry about getting attacked by a bunch of young black kids. Because the black kids know they've been trained certain ways. Your enemy looks like you. They've been reprogrammed to see their enemy as a young person that looks just like them.
Yeah, it's sad though that for the last 50 years we see like a downward spiral within the black culture and us blacks in general to fight amongst each other instead of fighting the system or make the system work for us, at least that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and then some of the other brothers were talking about, and I recall in a lecture where there's an organization called I don't know if you heard of it, the Travis Stock Institute.
The what institute?
It's called the Travis Stock Institute.
Never heard of it.
What they do is they deal with the spiritual and moral decline of the United States. They deal with things that deal with music and media. That's when you start getting into, we start to the Beatles, was one of their creation, and then it went from this European thing to, it got into the black culture where you started seeing things like, your brothers were saying, before the movie Shaft, the thing in the hood was black power.
Right.
Before the movie Shaft, it was black power.
Wait,
and
Shaft was Shaquille
O'Neal? Huh?
Wait, Shaft was Shaquille O'Neal?
I'm saying, before that movie was done in Hollywood.
Oh, okay, Samuel Jackson, sorry.
Before that movie was done in Hollywood, the movement with black people was power to the people. Black power. Then the next movement after the Black Power movement, like one of the brothers was saying in an lecture, which makes perfect sense, is black consciousness. And the powers that be knew the next move was for black people was black consciousness. So, and they knew the danger of a movement dealing with black consciousness. It's that, they knew the danger. So, okay, we don't want them to get on that tip. So what we do is we'll create this bullshit, shaft shit, this pimp shit. And the brother was saying also for a man to be a pimp, he's a homosexual. on the down low, because you gotta be a gay man to be able to take a woman and put her through that madness,
Oh wow.
which makes sense.
Hmm.
But this pimp in the gay community will be considered a top.
A top what?
So this pimp will be the nigga that will be doing the fucking. Who will be fucking other niggas. He will be fucking other niggas.
Oh, okay.
So he will be the man in the relationship.
I see.
Okay, so they were saying in order, to be you gotta be a stone cold faggot to be a pimp. You can't love women and treat women like that, like a pimp treats a woman.
Right, you got to do it with respect of some sort.
Yeah, you can't do that. You gotta be, you has to be gay to be treating a woman like that,
Well,
which
sometimes,
which makes perfect sense.
sometimes women can actually will make the man go crazy too. So, well, are the lesbians if it's like that as well?
I'm saying, well, gotta understand, I have very high standards of black women, because I have black women in my family, and a black woman carries herself with dignity and respect. When a black man is in the presence of a black woman, here's a way a brother can test if she's a real woman. If the man is intelligent and if the words that comes out of his mouth sound intelligent to the woman is going to be attracted to that intelligence like a magnet. It's a magnet. Now you
Mm-hmm.
have a black woman. Now you have sisters that are just straight up bitches, like pretty much like a lot of sisters are today.
Wasn't like this 50
Right.
years ago.
Yeah, the feminism thing, like I said, the most hardcore feminist is a fucking dyke.
Yes, indeed.
So
Sorry, I
a,
let this
a
laugh.
dyke or a lesbian that thinks she's a man, I mean, she's really going to be like getting on a man's last nerve. So you have some sisters that are not lesbians, but they have an attitude like a lesbian, where all the only thing that a man is to her is a sperm donor.
Pretty much, just about
Yeah.
reproduction.
So you got young guys that think they're gonna get slick. You got young guys, 21, 22, that they get kicked out of the house with their family. So this is a new move with the young brothers now. Yo, I can't live with my parents, so but if I go bone shorty and I get her pregnant, at least I got a place to stay now. And this is the mindset of the young brothers who have become fathers at the early age. They don't have shit going for themselves. They think they need a place to stay, so they go get up with a girl and they get her pregnant, and now they figure that, I can go live with my baby mama. Now the baby mama don't get what she want out the deal, so what she does is she kicks the man out, the boy out the house, because he don't have no money.
Right.
He ain't got no money. He can't bring in no. I got bills to pay. This 22, 23-year-old, he can't even pass an IQ test. I'm thinking in her mindset, but she opened her legs for the brother to get her pregnant.
Yes.
You get what I'm saying?
It's all about a trust game, pretty much.
Say what?
It's all nothing but a trust game.
Yeah, they're playing games with each other. So it's a crafted game that they play. brother is, and if you look outside around you and you pay attention, then you'll see that most brothers and sisters that you run up on are not black. Those are niggas. And I hate to say it, but I mean, in all honesty, you know, I'm in agreement with the way my art is dealing with the young people.
Mm.
I'm in total agreement. But if I have to pretend to be sympathetic, and or if I have to pretend, I'll give you a solution. If you want them to get off your back, the only way you can get the system off your back is to be willing to lay your life on the line.
When people have enough left to lose, they lose it.
If you have nothing to do, brother, Elijah Muhammad also said a black man that has nothing to lose is the most dangerous man in the entire Western Hemisphere. You know what I'm saying? You think a person that's doing life in prison gives a shit about taking somebody else's life that's in prison? Hell no. They ain't got shit to lose.
Unless you want to go on, stay on good behavior for the next 50 years in that jail. He might be out there in a little time.
They don't give a damn. It's like, I'm doing life, so I'm gonna do what I gotta do. What they gonna do? What they can't put me. They can't do nothing to me. So I mean, that's the way the mindset has to be in order to get what they want. I mean, and those slogans that they use in, those little bullshit protests that, the people, so-called black people have to do when these incidents happen with the police, no justice, no peace, and kill the white man and all other shit, like brothers were saying, those are mystical principles applied to politics.
Yes.
So when you apply certain principles, to politics, it becomes like Hendrix used to say, politics is nothing more than the art of words that don't mean nothing. You're just running your mouth. You're just out there, just sounding heavy and jazzy. But you're not moving on anything.
Unless you plan on something for the future, that's a different story.
If you're going to organize and move on it, then cool. It's sad, The truth of the matter is, like, I would respect somebody like Al Sharpton if when the Bell family got, Sean Bell got shot. If Al Sharpton was really for black people, he should have told the Bell family, look, I'm going to be real with y'all. I don't think we should waste our time going to criminal court. We should go to civil court. We have a better chance of getting something if we find out the officer, if we go, excuse me, I have to sneeze.
It's okay.
If we go,
bless you.
Thank you. If we go to civil court, we can get money. You get the money for the victim. It's not a criminal matter for black men to be shot by police officers.
If I may ask,
going back to what I said about, on one angle, the founding fathers, fraudulent fathers, wrote their little documents back in the 1700s that if you were a person of color, you were what, 3/4 of an animal or something like that.
3/5 a compromise.
So more of an animal. You were more of an animal than you were a human being. That didn't change since then. They didn't go and rewrite that.
Really? So the rumor is true. They never really override the 3/5 compromise.
You're still viewed as an animal.
That's not good.
You're an animal. So that's what people need to be shoved down. These black people that are so on this Black Lives Matter bullshit. They need to have that reality shoved down their throat. You are viewed more as an animal.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, if you want to use the Yiddish term, you are goyim. 5,000 people died in the World Trade Center. Not one single Jew went to work. That day they say.
Wow. That's weird.
Okay, so everybody that died in the World Trade Center was what? Goyim.
They're a sacrificial lamb of sorts.
Yeah. So I mean, it's nothing to them. For the guy who owned the World Trade Center to bring the buildings down and pay off X amount of dollars and insurance claim to the victims. It's nothing.
Oh yeah, Steve guy. I forgot his name. I forgot his last name though. I think his name was Steve something.
So what?
The guy that owned the original World Trade Center's site. I think his name was Steve by if I remember correctly his first name.
Yeah, it's crazy. I mean, but if these people were to be honest with the masses and tell the masses of people your lives are expendable, then I mean, what they gonna do about it? If the powers that be got on TV and just went straight up 100% with them, what would happen?
Something interesting will happen after that.
I'm like, what they gonna do? I mean, are they gonna go up against the military, the law enforcement? Are they gonna do that? No, I doubt it. I mean, it's a very, very sad reality.
Had HAD?
Excuse me?
Yeah, had I mean HAD?
What? Oh, HAD?
HAD had. He's a had society?
It's a sad,
Oh, sad. I'm sorry. Excuse me.
very sad system that we live in. I mean, either you're gonna get used to the slaughtering, or you're gonna move on it.
And it's gonna take a generation for that to happen, though.
Michael Jackson wrote that song. They really don't care about us.
Yes, indeed.
So you tied. They really don't care about us, and to the Black Lives Matter to who? It makes perfect sense. Black Lives Matter to who? They really don't care about us. Michael Jackson told you.
Because I listened to that song myself a few months ago.
So what?
I said because I listened to that song at least a year ago because I didn't hear about this song until after his death.
Yeah, you didn't hear about it after his death. I mean, so it's like they didn't really promote it. Michael's, they wasn't really promoting anything that Michael Jackson had done while he was alive. They wasn't even promoting the Beatles material when Michael was alive because Michael owned all that shit.
The Beatles include, I heard too.
And I mean, it's a very wicked system that we live under. I mean, but you can't blame them because they're doing what they have to do to maintain their survival. How can we not? That's all, and I'm talking about black people all over the world. I'm not just talking about black people here in the United States. I'm talking about black people all over this planet. White people are doing what they have to do, and we're not. One thing that was told by another one of the brothers, that we all know that the Europeans are masters at dividing and conquering. That's how they win. They keep you divided.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and I mean, there's certain people, certain black people that would not even go up against the police officers, because in their culture they're taught to give the white man the utmost respect. When a white man comes to town, don't chase him out of town. Smile in his face. That's your friend.
Right.
That's my buddy. That's my white buddy here. You got black folks that really, the dark people that really, these are your modern day house niggas that will be more than happy, to serve the white man.
Because the white man dominates the power structure.
So what?
Because the white man dominates the power structure. That's why.
Yeah, it's his thing. So that's what's going on there. So that different people, different black people have a different view of white people than of African American black people. We've really got the shitty end of white people here in America. But history tells us that the founding fathers of this corporate entity were Europe's worst.
I see.
They were criminals that were cast out of Europe. Because if you look at the way slave masters in America dealt with slaves in America, but then you go slave masters that were in the Caribbeans, they were different. The Caribbeans were allowed to hold on to a certain culture, African culture, that African Americans were not allowed to deal with. When the Pilgrims came over here, the ones from Europe came over here, we had to adapt to the Christian theology. Kunta Kinte, we'll use him, that character. Kunta Kinte, they had to beat Toby into Kunta Kinte. Symbolic. You have to get rid of that radical Negro and make that radical Negro passive. And the only way you can make him passive is you got to beat the shit out of him.
And you gotta do psychological gain as well. Tell him, like, you are this new name. That's it. What? And then you slap him, constantly hit him with a billy club or a whip or something.
Okay.
Oh, I was saying the fact that as one example of, in order to make your opponent have a different identity of what you want them to be, you have to use psychological gain as well, not physical gain as well. That's even more worse than physical pain.
Yeah, back then, we were in physical bondage, slaves, the physical thing. Now they released the chains off of us, but then, like one of the other brothers was saying, that the chain is still in our brains. We're not free. Our minds, we're not free. It's the wars on the spiritual level. Now, it went from the physical to the spirit. And it's very, when you start getting there on that level, it's really subtle. It's not in your face, it's very subtle. You get it?
Yes.
So So that's where. So it seems like you let the people know that I'm starting to wake up a little bit more. But when I first started talking, I was kind of groggy because I had been sleeping,
Hmm.
literally. So now I'm a little more awake. So and as rap is coming out more. But for real, that's what's going on now. There's the solution to getting respect. You can't. You can't. What's another thing that they were saying? You don't become more of a moral individual to defeat your enemy. That's that's not being realistic.
I see.
I mean, and that's pretty much where Martin Luther King was on. Martin Luther King was, if you can't be violent, because his shit he was talking was non-violent. His thing was like, if you can't be non-violent, don't get in it. Well, that approach that worked back then in the '60s won't work now.
Definitely not.
So basically, you can't be more of this moral brother and sister to defeat somebody that's just getting off or causing you pain. Think of it like they were saying also the fly that the fly that will spit up on its prey before he eats it. It's the same thing. So it like Jimi Hendrix said. What did he say? He made some ill-advised statements to magazines, and he was calling for the Black Panthers to go to Washington D.C. and shoot the place up.
Wow, that's a little crazy. I'm not saying crazy, but I mean that's like an APB.
This was Jimi Hendrix during the height of his career, when he was making $100,000 a show.
That's a lot of money back then.
Yeah, he was making a lot of money. He was making $100,000 a show. So when, like they say, when he died, he should have been a millionaire. He was a millionaire when he died.
And equivalent to today's world, but he could be almost a billionaire.
Yeah, he would. Yeah, he'd be filthy rich. He'd be part of the billionaires club. So like I was saying, is you gotta. He said when he said shoot the place up, the Black Panthers went up into the California state capitol with weapons on them. And at that time, Ronald Reagan was governor of California. And after the Black Panthers went up in the state capitol, they changed the laws, the gun laws. Because you got a bunch of niggas coming up in the state with weapons on them.
Who's going to protect us from the government? That's the problem. I said the government wants to look out for their own interests, but still.
Yeah, but it's like we would have to get brothers that were able to infiltrate the police departments, the federal level of law enforcement. In order to make a serious move, brothers would have to be able to infiltrate the way those organizations infiltrate organizations that brothers be trying to set up, the way they did the Black Panthers and the way they did the Nation of Islam.
The Black Liberation Army.
You would have to be able to do the reverse and get people from the hood to infiltrate those organizations to learn all the stuff they can learn from those organizations and get people within those organizations to side with them, because in all actuality it's all mind control. They got that bullshit statement that John F. Kennedy made: ask not what your country can do for you, but what you can do for your country. That's mind control.
Right there, mind control. That statement.
That's mind control. And that's because you got people who patriotic, girl, it's natural for European people to be on this patriotic move because patriotism suits them. It benefits them. But for somebody black to be patriotic, that motherfucker should become a target from radical black people. That black person that's patriotic should be have to come outside and worry about assassins every day of his life.
I can understand that situation sometimes.
You know what I'm trying to say? Because that patriotic nigga is a house nigga in your face.
But how could we? If I may ask Doc and to the audience, I'm sure they have. If they're younger than me, they have questions as well about this matter at hand. How is it that being patriotic for your country is like a house nigger? I mean, don't we have rights as well to some extent? We did help with the Civil War and the World War II and World War One.
You say how the term house nigger come about?
Well, yeah, like I mean, I'm still a little bit confused about house nigger, being a house nigger, and also how that correlates with the patriotism of your country. Because what if you were raised a certain way?
You're trying to see how it relates. Well, basically, the brother, again, I'm going to say, to me, a black man that is pro-United States is a sellout because this country does not serve black people. It really doesn't. It does. If you look at the way it's a racist society, it's fucked up towards people of color, nappy-headed people. So for somebody of color to talk about, the sound patriotic and love the country. I mean, basically, you love being,
American?
treated like shit.
Oh.
That's what I see. But most black folks, black people that are very patriotic, these people will be very well-to-do black people.
Well-to-do through the white man? Well-to-do through the white man, or well-to-do on their own?
Excuse me?
Are they well-to-do with the white man, or well-to-do on their own?
Well-to-do in life, and they would be, have good jobs, money, property. They would be, well-off black people. So, therefore, they will lose themselves.
After a while.
Pretty much the way O.J. Simpson lost himself. Pretty much the way Tiger Woods lost himself. You got this money, so the first thing he went, O.J. Simpson go and get him a white woman after he, did what he could deal with the substance no more. So he didn't think he was black. Was it O.J. Simpson told somebody that he's not black, he's O.J.
Orange juice.
And O.J. thought, he had some really good white buddies. So when the shit hit the fan, all them people that he thought was his friends, the majority of the white people that he thought was his friends, couldn't wait to turn their backs on him.
Really?
That's what you get, and that's just a lesson, again, coming from the ancestors, don't lose yourself with these creatures.
It's like the Eminem song. It's like the Eminem song, Lose Yourself. Something like that. You heard Eminem before, right? The rapper, Doc? Yeah, he had a song called "Lose Yourself" in the 8 Mile movie. He helped create it back in over 10 years ago.
He says, "What? Don't lose yourself."
No, "Lose Yourself."
That's what I said. Don't lose yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah. Don't think because they smiling in your face, that they your buddy. I read something on the internet where an African guy had said the only good cracker he knows is a dead one.
Oh wow.
He didn't use cracker. He used white. The only good white man he knows is a dead one.
I see.
This was an African guy who said that.
Hmm.
So then I can tell when I'm around like the Sadiddy house nigga. Those are the black folks that get highly offended when you say something derogatory about Martin Luther King. They lose their fucking mind.
Yeah,
Like,
without
I can't
him.
believe you would say something about Martin Luther King, as great as he was, and if Martin Luther King didn't do this, that, and the other thing, you would have this, that, and it's like, well, bullshit. Martin Luther King didn't wake up until after he spoke to Malcolm. Martin Luther King was a puppet, nigga.
Yeah, I heard rumors about that matter too.
Huh?
I heard rumors about that matter that they would they would coerce with each other under certain means. I'm not sure exactly what those means were, but it was something of that regard.
Well, they were opposite polarities to each other. See, Malcolm Martin, to me, was he had this little dream that was actually a nightmare. I don't know how many of the, I don't know if he wrote any of the speeches that he did. If he did, what kind of drugs was he on when he wrote them? Martin Luther King didn't do any drugs, but where the fuck was his head? His head had to be, he had to either be doing drugs or his head had to be stuck up his ass.
Hopefully it's the drugs. I hope.
So what?
I hope it's the drugs, not the other way around.
Yeah, because he wasn't realistic, and that's the problem with a lot of so-called black Christians, American black Christians, is they're not practical. In many cases, they're not practical. Now, Malcolm X, on the other hand, he was really practical. He was realistic. He understood that you had to go to war. You had to go to war. See, I think Malcolm should have been handling black affairs totally throughout the entire United States. I think that Martin Luther King should have been a minister under Malcolm X.
Oh wow!
Because Martin Luther King was not. That whole movement was shitty. Why would you want somebody that tells you he don't like you to make you something to eat?
Good point.
I wouldn't trust that person. Why? What they? The one to go sit in a restaurant amongst them. The principle is I should be able to go sit anywhere I want to. Okay, that's a nice idea, but let's be realistic. These people tell you they don't like you. Why? And people that are older than me, if I was to try to talk to them, like I would say somebody like close to my oldest brother's age, that's damn near 60, they wouldn't be feeling what I'm saying.
I see.
Because they came up, embracing that we shall overcome bullshit. That stuff between we shall overcome and by any means necessary.
Indeed.
You know, so I mean, you got to make up your mind. Are you we shall overcome, or are you by any means necessary?
Right.
Because if you by any means necessary, you gotta bury we shall overcome with Martin and leave it. You know, I mean, we shall overcome this ass whooping. We shall overcome these dogs biting us and doing all types of shit to us. It's not in your face no more. They ain't gotta stick the dogs on you. They stick the system on you. And the latest case with the police shooting with the black guy with the gun permit, I mean, the officer saw a nigga with a gun. The officer didn't think about the permit. No, you know, that Klan member saw a nigga with a gun. See, but what that brother was supposed to do, was supposed to tell the officer that I have a gun permit and I had the gun in the car with me. It's in the glove compartment. An officer, can you get it? And keep his hands up in the air. And let the officer get the gun. He wasn't supposed to reach for the gun.
Yeah, he wasn't putting his hands in the air behind his head.
So prior to that incident in New York City, we had a case where some so-called deranged man with took bags of shit, feces, and shoved it down white women's pants in the Upper West Side.
I heard of that one. That was weird.
Now, you remember that?
Yeah, I heard of the news. That was weird.
Now, when that happened, I said, oh, shit, I thought it was funny. I thought it was hilarious.
Yeah.
But I also knew that now you got Klans members in the police department. They read the newspaper. That ain't gonna sit well with them. You embarrassed and humiliated a white woman. They were going to retaliate, and it wasn't going to be just one nigga that they were going to take out. There was going to be how many brothers got shot by police after that incident?
About 2 times at least. Now that woman, that black woman from the Midwest, or correctly. There's one black woman in the Midwest that got shot a few days ago.
A couple of days ago, was a black woman that got shot?
Yeah, and she was innocent.
Well, okay, well, tell me the circumstance.
I didn't read the entire article. I just glanced at it, saying that there was this one woman with with a puffy hair that she dressed it up a little bit, and they didn't really say much at first, but from what I could tell is that she must have done something wrong for the police to antagonize them to shoot her or something of that sort.
They shot her for what?
I'm not sure. I think she resisted arrest or something. I could be wrong about that.
She was doing what or something?
She was resisting arrest.
Oh, and they shot her.
Yes, and it made it look so innocent of this woman.
Well, again, like I said before, they're trained to feed on any form of resistance. Now, this sister is going to resist the police officers. She's going to go into bitch mode, and they shot her ass. Sounds about right to me.
Pretty much.
Because she's still looked at as an animal. You know, so I mean, she asked for it. All she had to do was listen to whatever the police officers were trying to tell her to do, and just do it. And she would still be breathing.
Yeah, but I'm supposed to shoot a black woman this time. That surprised me.
I mean, this is the first time that I heard about it, but I'm gonna be real with you. You know, I mean, had that bitch thing working, and they do make examples out of bitches too.
Right.
We got to keep it real.
Yes.
It's not how many black women that are really, productive and dignified, respectable. Do that happen to? A black woman that's dignified and respectable, if a police pulls her over, she's not going to put up any resistance. Even if the officer is wrong,
Yeah.
you're going to go through the system because you got to understand that officer has a gun on him, and he has his nightstick and his handcuffs, and he got the criminal justice system backing him up. So do you want to go home, or do you want to go to jail, or do you want to go to the cemetery?
Holy shit! That's a three choices only.
Yeah, so basically, that's what I would give a police officer total respect that tells a defendant that you got three choices. Do you want to go home? Do you want to go to jail? Or do you want to go to the cemetery? I guarantee you, if an officer said that to somebody young and black, they would shut the fuck up.
Indeed.
You got three choices, and that's it. But I told the officer one time on the avenue when the kids get crazy on the avenue, I told a white cop this. I said, if you said to the kids, if I was you, I would stop doing whatever it is because I can get away with killing your ass. I told a white cop this, and I would. The officer said to me, that's not true. I said to the officer, who do you think you're fooling? And I turned away and walked away from him.
I see.
Because that's the truth. It would be devastating for a high school kid to go home and tell his parents that a police officer said that to him. But what is his parents going to do? They can't do shit.
Especially if the young person doesn't know the officer's last name.
Yeah, and then even if he did know the officer, don't want the officer told you the truth.
Oh wow! Excuse me. I'm sorry about that. Yeah,
He told you the truth.
Yeah.
I can get away with killing your black ass. Because I'm on this honesty mode. This my heart. Tell the truth. No matter how fucked up it may sound, tell the truth.
Yes, indeed.
It's going to hurt them, but what they going to do about it? Nothing. Not a damn thing. We got these motherfuckers up on lockdown.
Lockdown USA, Phil Valentine. That's a good document. That's a good video presentation. Yeah.
You. What they say, what the officer say, what did Washington say in training day to the brothers that live in the projects? You just live there.
I
That's
see.
one of the lines that you said that Washington said in training day. You just live there. The police officers make the rules. They the overseers. They the modern day overseers. You see, the slaves used to run off the plantation, and they would send the overseers. They would go find the slaves. And when they found the slave, they would take the slave and throw him in the back of the cage. They call it the nigger cage.
Oh wow.
Put him in the nigger cage. Today, the nigger cage is called the paddy wagon, or the back seat of the police cruiser.
I see.
Put the nigger in the nigger cage, you take him to the nigger zoo. The nigger zoo is jail or prison. Then you have his family members come visit him. Bring his kid to come see him. Come see daddy. We're gonna go see daddy. He's in the zoo.
So it's amazing.
I think the brothers that that the system play with, that they know that they can't rehabilitate, need to leave them in the prison. The young brothers that can't be rehabilitated, you need to stop wasting money and leave them there. You get what I'm saying?
Yes.
I mean, because ultimately, in the revolution, you gotta, in order to get to the white power structure, you have to get rid of the niggas first. You gotta slaughter some nigger blood first. And the brothers that slaughter in the nigger blood, these are radical black men who target brothers that are really fucked up and bring down black people. So they're the ones that's getting their brains blown out by radical brothers. It's like, imagine somebody like the Black Panther, somebody trying to sell drugs in a neighborhood where the Black Panthers were running the show. Or brothers trying to sell drugs in a neighborhood where there's a Muslim mosque, where it's black people, not the Indian Muslims. I'm talking about where they're black Muslims.
Right, of course.
Yeah, you're not going to sell any drugs anywhere near that mosque. You're going to be as far away from the mosque as possible.
Like a mile away.
Failure to do so, you will get hurt.
Get what?
You will get hurt.
Oh, hurt. Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
What if you get killed?
That's Muslim territory, and they don't allow any of that in their territory. You get me? So I mean, so you got to get rid of the ones that are bringing down black people. You know, I was listening to somebody the other day about the Ebola virus. Now, Ebola, you know, that's a virus that attacks melanin cell.
Really? That's new to me.
Yes. Now, you want to look at it from a spiritual level. You know, maybe some of the grandmasters may agree with me and may not. I feel we all know that melanin is an intelligence. Melanin is an intelligence worthy of respect and honor. I feel that anybody that violates that intelligence, that illness is a great blessing. Because it attacks melanin. And if you're going to violate and you're going to disrespect melanin and dishonor it, why not suffer?
I see.
You know, it's a fucked up thing to say, but we gotta, I'm coming from a school of thought where you have no compassion for people who violate my art. You violate my art, her rulings, anybody that's down with my art, you're standing on whatever her ruling is, however she's dealing with the youth. So ultimately, like I said, I'm in agreement with my artists who asked me about the Black Lives Matter thing. I have to answer your question and appear to be sympathetic.
Right.
You know, but you know, I mean, yeah, black lives do matter, but who the hell said you was black?
It's among the group that started from the start after Trayvon Martin, or right around the time of the Ferguson riots.
Yeah, I mean, because what does it mean to be black? I mean, what I'm saying, so who said that, you per se, but who said that individual or those individuals that are being victimized are black people?
Huh.
Those are niggas.
Okay.
So niggas' life definitely don't matter.
Well, Doc, I have to call it an end. We're at a 100 hour, 30 minute recording. I want to waste to put too much. I like to put too much. I like to put places for for part two actually, if possible, because obviously it's one big recording I have to edit out or have to process. So can you make it call me next time, or perhaps we meet in
Okay.
person for a discussion again?
No problem, no problem. I mean, if you want to cut the basement, I mean, editing. I know, like I said in the beginning of our discussion, I was a little groggy. And as you can tell, when you listen back to our discussion, you're going to see there's a point where I woke up. Because I was a
Okay,
little groggy because I was sleeping.
I understand.
Now I'm up now. So, in the beginning, I felt it was a little groggy. So people listening be like, huh? So I still have to edit it to the point where where I'm up. You know what you're doing.
Yes, it looks like a solid recording. So thanks, guys, for listening. Please thumbs up, subscribe, and share it if you're up to doing so. And keep these words in mind and do things plan accordingly. Have a nice day, everyone.
Okay.
Enjoy the
All
day.
right. All
Bye.
right. No.
Hey guys, thank you for watching. Not really watching, but listen to this recording. I know it's not 3 minutes long, but I just want to make sure it's short and sweet to a certain extent. We might make a part two out of this sometime later next week or later next month at best. Please thumbs up, subscribe, and share. And as always, thank you for subscribing to my channel. And have a nice day and enjoy the rest of your summer if I don't make any more discussions sometime this summer. Thank you and have a nice day. Bye. And all the references are located at the below. Thank you.